I was out riding with some buddies one time. We were on an extended trip, multi-day trip, and the temperature dropped like crazy. We started the trip out and it was like 75 during the end of the day. And then the next day, literally, the high was like 35, I think. Wind chill off the charts. It snowed, it froze over, the roads turned into ice. It's probably the coldest I've ever been on a motorcycle. It was frigid. Never could really warm my body up. It was out of control. That's the comment I want from you on this video is, what's the coldest you've ever been on your moto? Whew. Friends, welcome back. I am Jason, and there's a lot of reasons why I could end up stranded out here and need to spend the night. Now, I don't always carry camping gear with me. I don't have my moto fully loaded with all the gear I need to spend the night if I'm just out for the day. But I think it's always important to carry something, the just-in-case kind of shelter. And I'm going to give you some ideas that you can potentially use along the way for you if you should encounter some sort of emergency. You have a mechanical breakdown in the middle of nowhere. And I tell you what, friends, if you're out here in a place like this during the week, the chances of seeing somebody is significantly lower. I mean, there might be a truck or something come by every now and then, a Jeep, another motorcycle or a mountain biker or whatever, a hiker perhaps. But oftentimes I've been out here and seen absolutely nobody all day long during the week. Weekends a little bit busier sometimes, but even then, always be prepared with a way to protect yourself from the elements, because even this time of year when it gets super hot, the weather can change drastically, especially in the mountains. Pouring down rain, you could get soaked even with rain gear. If you ride long enough in the rain with rain gear on, eventually you're gonna get wet no matter what, because there's just holes. You know, there's holes. Water seeps in, gets into you, gets you wet, and that wind, that breeze that's coming through, temperatures drop down to 70, low 70s, 60s, maybe even lower up on top of some of these mountains, 50s in the summertime. Definitely possible. You can easily succumb to hypothermia. So again, just having a little bit of kit, a little bit of basic knowledge on what to do with it when those situations come up is going to be potentially a lifesaver. Now in my pack, guys, I always have my primary shelter. And for me, that is a poncho. Just a simple military style, mil-spec type poncho. This one just happens to be made by Helicon Tex. There's some other good ones out there, but I've used, abused, and trusted this one for a long time. This is maybe my second or third one, and I've just kind of worn out the others. But I always carry a poncho with me just because of its versatility. I can literally just put it on, and I have shelter ready to go. So if it gets a little bit chilly, I might be a little bit injured, and I don't have the energy, the skills, the abilities, whatever, I'm too hurt, too much pain to build some sort of shelter, I just put that poncho on, sit on top of it, and huddle next to my motorcycle here. Maybe get a little bit of warmth off of the engine. Keep it running, maybe, I don't know. Just don't melt your poncho. And then I could sit here and wait out the storm and stay a little bit warmer. It doesn't get any simpler, easier, more field expedient than that right there. Easy to pack. I mean, it's just, to me, it's a no-brainer. I mean, why would you not carry a poncho with you if you have the space? And who doesn't have a space for a small poncho? So maybe you've been riding and you've gotten to a point where you're getting really friggin' cold. You know, I mean, you're starting to shiver kind of uncontrollably, which is one of the beginning signs of hypothermia. And you just can't seem to control the motorcycle anymore. You're losing dexterity in your hands, fingers. Squeezing that clutch and brake becomes really cumbersome now, and it's getting borderline dangerous, and you should probably just stop and try to warm up a little bit. One of the first things that I always recommend that you do is just physical exercise. When you're cold, when you're borderline hypothermic or actually hypothermic, the last thing you want to do is exercise, is move your body, do squats and push-ups and jumping jacks and all that kind of stuff. You don't want to do it. I get it. I've been there. I know how it feels. You get very lethargic, and that's what makes hypothermia actually so dangerous, is that it's not that miserable of a way to go, to be honest with you. You get tired, lethargic, and you just want to kind of curl up, lay down in a ball of your own misery and take a nap. And that is what gets you. That is what you take a nap and you never wake up from that nap. So you've got to have the willpower and understanding to know what's going on. And your brain does get a little bit foggy when you get really cold, so it's a little bit easier said than done. But if you can just get off the motorcycle and exercise, start squatting, doing push-ups, jumping jacks, until you build up enough till you're almost on the verge of sweating. Don't start sweating, but almost to the point of sweating, you can get your body back warm again. But maybe you are injured, you've already crashed a couple times, and exercise is just not in the cards. Now, I could set up a shelter down there by the motorcycle, down by the creek bottom, but I tell you what, friends, especially in the wintertime, you'll regret that, because that's where the cold air is going to settle, down there. I want to elevate myself up just a little ways above that. I don't want to be on the top of a mountain. I want to be somewhere in the middle. Just elevate yourself just enough, just like this. Just a little bit out of the bottom right there, and it makes all the difference. So I've whittled myself a few stakes here because I didn't pack any. I seem to lose tent stakes all the time. It's hard to keep track of them for some reason, but yeah, you could definitely pack a few tent stakes and save yourself a few minutes of time here. But you don't have to do anything. If the ground's soft like it is here, a little bit rocky, but it's pretty soft, you don't have to have any special tent, just a couple of sticks that aren't too rotten off the ground, and really all you need. And you can have yourself a few tent stakes in relatively short order. Tent stakes. Now, I pretty much always have some sort of string on me. Piece of paracord, short one like this, is all you really need. That right there and a poncho, and you've got shelter. No fancy knots, guys. If you know how to tie your shoes, then you know how to set a shelter up. Literally, just tie your shoes with your piece of paracord or whatever string you got, or your shoelace, doesn't really matter. Tie your shoes, bam, easy to tie, easy to untie, knot right there, and just stake out the three corners. So I always have a little bit of a loop right here, piece of cord tied to the poncho, because if I'm making a stake, I can't stick a jumbo stake like this through that grommet hole. So this makes it a little bit easier. Last thing I gotta do is just tie up the hood, cinch up the hood there, tie it off so it doesn't leak. And that right there is all you really need to do. Just pull up the drawstring right there, flop it over. That's probably all you really need to do. But if you're worried about that little hole, tiny hole leaking on you, twist it up, flop it over, and then tie it off with the provided cordage. Wrap it around twice, and then once over your thumb, and then stick the excess through that space you've created with your thumb. Boom, not gonna leak. And there you have it, friends. With a little bit of practice, and you need to practice this stuff when the weather's nice like this, get out and practice these things. Set up your emergency shelter just like this. See how fast you can do it. Practice it over and over and over again, because if you're hurt, you're hypothermic, your judgment's not that great, you're gonna struggle with the simple tasks like this, and you can't really afford that if you are in that kind of situation, if you're by yourself. Really, you should never really ride by yourself if you can help it. But oftentimes, adventure calls. You know how it is. You're like, hey, buddy, you want to go ride? Nah, dude, I can't. I'm busy. I got a thing. Hey, buddy, you want to ride? Nah, I can't. I got a thing. I'll go to work it, whatever. You just got to go out and do it. You can't wait for everyone. You can't wait for adventure. Sometimes it's calling and you got to go take it. But, obviously safety in numbers. But there's my shelter. Crawl in this thing and be completely protected from the rain coming down on top of me. Snow, I've slept in snow, I've slept in rain, I have slept in all kinds of nasty, really crazy windy conditions in this shelter right here and been completely fine. Now, if the wind direction is predominantly coming in from this way, obviously I'd want to spin my shelter around so I have this protected side down. And you can seal off the edges even better. I've slept, what was it, like 30, 40 mile an hour winds, sustained winds, and I slept in this shelter right here, and all I did to seal off the edges was that right there. And you'd be surprised, that's all it takes. And you'd think the wind will blow that away. And sometimes I guess it possibly could from the right direction or whatever, but you used to be surprised at how well just leaf litter stays on the ground. Well, think about it. When really strong winds, like not too long ago, came through this area, we had big storms, lots of trees down. The leaf litter on the ground didn't get blown away. It stays there. I don't know. Science, nature. What do you want from me? Anyway, you seal it off just like that. And now I've closed in my shelter on the windward side, you know, where the wind is coming from. And I'm less drafty in there. Easy peasy. Some of you are going to be thinking, oh, but you're laying on the wet ground. You're going to get soaked and you're freezing. Yeah, absolutely. You know, maybe you've got your rain gear on still that you rode with. That would be a smart idea for sure. But if all your clothes are wet underneath, having a spare change of clothing, always recommended. If even just in general, not for emergencies really, but just I sleep so much better if I can get out of my nasty, dirty riding clothes, adventure wear, and put on some dry PJs, you know, some dry, clean pajamas. But let's say you're not planning on being out for long. You're not going to spend the night out. You didn't bring any of that stuff, you know. Just bring something like this that's in my pocket. Even if you did not have the rain poncho and all you did was stick a trash bag, just a great big trash liner. This is I think this is a 45 or 55 gallon drum liner right here. This is great. I mean, all you really need to do, if you do have a poncho like this, is you just open this thing up, spread it out under your shelter. This looks like one of the smaller ones, the 42 maybe. That's what it is. But anyway, you spread it under your shelter, and then now you're laying on a dry moisture barrier, a dry surface. So good. If you wanted to kick up a pile of leaves on the ground underneath you, obviously get rid of big sticks and stuff that's going to jab you and stab you, rocks and whatnot. Kick up a pile of leaves and then put this on top of it, or even fill this with a bunch of leaves and create yourself some sort of mattress. A trash bag, I tell you what, friends, is handy thing to have. It's a waterproof barrier from the elements. But I can sit on top of this, I can lay on top of this trash bag, and I can be dry from the ground. Now, if it's the wintertime, it's cold out, really cold conditions, this time of year, not that big a deal, but in the wintertime, I would definitely want some insulation underneath me. Kick up those big pile of leaves, build up those leaves underneath you, bring a mattress, you know, all the stuff, of course, if you're planning on spending the night. But if you're not planning on spending the night, just improvise the best you can. So now not only do I look awesome, but I'm protected from the elements. And that took me about, I don't know, 30 seconds to make this impromptu trash bag poncho right here. Boom, ready to go, protected from the wind and the rain. So now I've got my impromptu shelter. I'm sitting on my very cushy seat that, you know, is designed to insulate you and protect you and keep you comfortable anyway, so why not use it? The cold, frozen, wet ground, you know, is no longer a problem. I'm good to go. Well, I'm maybe not very comfortable, maybe not good to go, but I'm much more protected and much better off than I would be without it. And once we get our shelter of whatever type we choose, once we get that set up, we can potentially, if we've got the gear with us, you know, make yourself a hot brew, start a little fire, you know, warm your body up, rest a little bit, recover a little bit until you've got the gumption, the warmth enough back in your bones where you can get back out on the trail and get out of here, or wait the night out, you know, and then when the sun comes up in the morning, you know, you'll see things in a whole new light, literally. Anyway, guys, I hope you appreciate this. I hope you found this to be useful. Leave lots of comments, ask lots of questions. If you don't feel like talking about moto survival, then tell me what your favorite kind of dinosaur is. Personally, Stegosaurus has always been a big fan. I've always been a big fan of Stegosaurus. But man, I don't know. T-Rex, everybody loves T-Rex, right? So anyway, leave me a comment, guys. I really appreciate it. Hit the thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't done so already. And until next time, what's the worst that could happen? Let's just go on 3. Bonus tip, friends. In the summertime, the cold necessarily isn't your biggest struggle. It's the mosquitoes, like the ones that are buzzing around my ears right now. And this, my friends, is one of the handiest, most useful pieces of kit that I have discovered. Not only is it a bandana, I can wash my face off, clean my body if I go take a dip in the creek, dry myself off perhaps. I can use it as a bandage if I should get in trouble. I could make an impromptu tourniquet out of this thing pretty easily. It does the job, a lot of different jobs, but one of the coolest features and one of the most appreciated is that right there. The bandonette for the win. I'll put a link to these in the description in the comment section of this video. Maybe the best part about a shelter like this one is not necessarily how fast it is to set up. It's how fast it is to take it down when you're all done breaking camp. Nobody wants to spend all their time breaking down stuff, rolling stuff back up, putting it back into little dry bags or stuff sacks. Who's got time for all that? You just take the thing. You don't even have to fold it if you don't want to. Just wad it up. If it's wet, you know, put it on the outside somewhere where it can dry. But just wad the thing up, cram it back into your pack or whatever, however you're carrying your gear, and then you're done.